Welcome to No Man's Sky. My name is Spanj, and I built this ship in a recent live stream. And if you'd like to see how I did it, then click the video right here or at the end of this video to go and watch back the live stream. Now, this is the Animus of Madness. Yeah. Well, actually, the game kind of made up that name. I sort of finished it off a little bit there. But yeah, this is a pretty large corvette. It's 3 decks high. And I wanted to build something that had a large interior space, and I'll come to that in a moment. But let's have a quick look around the outside, because quite by accident I've managed to build something that actually wouldn't look amiss in the Firefly universe. I think it has a very sort of rustic, almost kind of like, you know, trodden down cowboy frontier look about it. They're very much from like the Firefly universe, where, you know, outside of the Alliance, that is, ships are very much just kind of hobbled together and somewhat homely in some ways with whatever they can get their hands on. Yeah, I don't know what I really was going for when I built this thing. All I knew is that I wanted an interior space that was larger than what the Habs can really deal with, and it ended up just sort of evolving into this, which I think actually turned out to be a pretty cool looking machine. And we'll have a look inside in a moment. I've used almost like Star Wars style trenching down the sides and the front here, this almost flat front. It did start out that way, but I put these sort of fenders on the front here just to sort of smooth that out a little bit, but using a lot of props inside there just to give it some extra finishing touches, along with the greebling and stuff like that all along there. The generators on the side spinning away as well, giving a really cool effect. These radar dishes on the side as well add a circular kind of texture to an otherwise bricky, blocky ship, and lots of sort of conveniences and quality of life things inside there as well, which have resulted in things like this rear porch entryway for easy access and exit from the ship. Now, there are some problems with it being on a station, which I'll get into later, and some glitches, but when you're out and about, those things don't really matter. But yeah, I've used a lot of deco blocks to do things that, well, like this kind of greebling effects over here. And we'll come to that as a bit of a spoiler there, but yeah, the awnings and such, and these little antennas and whatnot on the front here, because the 100 piece limit, yeah, we got to that pretty easily, to be honest, and it was quite hard. I think we went up to 117 before I realized I'd gone so far over and had to scale back a lot of the greebling and extra bits and bobs that I had on this thing quite severely, and using the decorative blocks to kind of counter that limit, really. Anyway, that's a look at the outside of the ship. We got on the bottom here just a Deadeye cannon and the hover landing struts, whatever you call them. But yeah, let's have a little look inside, shall we? Here we go. So, ambassador entryway on the back here into a nice little foyer, if you like. Sign into the visitor's book, if you like, and we got a weapons rack on the wall. Now, what I've tried to do is just sort of create a lived-in cluttered effect here, and I've used the ambassador habs throughout because they're just like, they're quite nice and clean, and they don't have like pipes and cables running along the floor and stuff. But I'll admit they are quite difficult to get wall assets and stuff to stick to. So I had a limited sort of success with said clutter, but I've given it a good go throughout. I don't know why the refining station has been removed there, but this is actually the back part of one of the engines, so it actually turned out to be a reasonably nice space for maintenance or some kind of engineering-y type thing. But yeah, mostly it's just a sort of throwaway space, really. Storage in there, and I'll come back to that one in a minute. This is a sort of kitchen area next to the living farm, so we can grow crops and stuff. We got ourselves the other side of the engines there. Now, if I take a left here, we come to the large open plan area that I really wanted to make in this ship, and this is something that took a lot of finagling, I got to admit. Now, it's not perfect, and there's a lot of sort of glitches and limitations and things that the game kind of throws at you when you try and do this, because Corvette building is just not designed to do this. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out overall. It's a nice, large open area space. It doesn't have any functional value, but, you know, from an RP point of view, we've got some engineering consoles for the generators on the side there. We've got some nice rugs that are covering up these kind of ugly floors. I couldn't really do anything about them, unfortunately. A fireplace, because, well, we just had to put a fireplace in, really, didn't we? And a nice little lounge / mini bar type area here. Loads of little things like the cables, these little boxes and stuff like that, that billboard, that fan, everything is added on. I used a mixture of servers and paneling to create the walls and kind of hide some of the larger gaps through these sort of blocks on the ceiling and stuff. We got some extra lighting, and as you can see, the posters and stuff kind of float, but we try and ignore that. Yeah, overall, it's just given this nice effect. The problem I had was, well, I wanted this sort of higher ceiling, but I didn't want to go higher than 3 decks, because if you take a Corvette above 3 decks, it becomes quite difficult to use. You have to fly it in first person, basically. So I have embraced a sort of open air, almost market kind of feel to this area. And yes, we are exposed to space here, but you know, these awnings and flags, just, they make it look so cool. One day, you know, Hello Games might give us some glass panels, a bit like these like flat panels here, that we could just slab over the top of this sort of gap, and we can just have a nice glass ceiling to our open air spaces. But yeah, right now we don't. Now, if you would like to see how we create an open air space like this, you can kind of figure it out from what we're looking at here, to be honest, but I'm sure you can figure it out. But I will have a video up soon, basically telling you how to create a space like this. It unfortunately does require you to go 3 decks high, especially if you want it sort of walled and ceilinged and floored. But yeah, it's definitely possible. Easy to do? Well, I'll leave that up to you to decide. Anyway, if we press forward here, we go through this passageway, and we've got a bit of some kind of machine-y type thing here. I don't even know what that is. Giant cog. Mostly this is all just decorative. And then, of course, we've got the forward cabin. This is kind of like the captain's room, I suppose, where I've tried to clutter it and make it look pretty nice and lived in and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much the entire ship, to be honest. Oh, let's go up to the bridge, actually. We haven't done that yet, have we? But yeah, I quite like how this turned out, really. Yeah, as funny as it is. Yeah, let's go upstairs. And here we got another like living hab for crew. We got a couple of bunks, med pod, another nutrient processor, and again, a little bit of clutter here. And now we're up to the top level where we've got our mission radar and, of course, our cockpit. It hasn't changed the name for some reason. That's weird. Okay, well, we'll fix that later. The Abakina of Madness. That was the name the game gave it, which was quite apt, really. But yeah, I mean, flying around, when you're flying this thing around on planet, and we'll take off in a little bit, and I'll go and show you. But yeah, having this access at the back here is actually really useful. And I've got a little awning as well, in case it's windy out. All right, let's take this thing out and see how it handles. So yeah, as you can see, 3 decks high. The visibility is okay. If we went higher, I did have the Deadeye cannon on top of the bridge, and it really did obscure the vision quite a lot, especially if you're trying to fly around on planet and such. So I think going 3 decks has to be your upper limit. Otherwise, you will have to go first person, which isn't a bad thing, especially if you've got the ambassador cockpit, which is glorious from the inside. It's just the same. It looks like a droopy penis from the outside, right? Anyway, let's go to an Arctic planet. That sounds good. Now, as typically is my luck when I come down onto a planet, particularly one with potential for storms, there's usually a storm going on, and we have no visibility, but let's roll that dice. Wish me luck. Here we go. I think that's a giant mountain in front of me. Oh my god. Yep. Oh gosh. I can't see anything. Because you know what? I think there's a storm going on. It's just typical, isn't it? Yeah, we're out of the cockpit. And we can open up. And we can have a look outside. There is definitely a storm going on. But you notice the reason I came out here is I wanted to show you the hatches that open at the back. When you're in a space station, these things glitch through the block underneath them, but outside that, they land. They actually collide with the ship itself. So what we find, if we go downstairs now into the open plan area, these ramps now do not just disappear off into the floor, and they look much, much better. One of the challenges that I had with these ramps is when you're building it in a station, they do glitch to the floor. So if you have habs underneath these ramps, they get blocked when you're in a station. When you're on planet, it's fine. But yeah, just a point to note, really. And I'll cover that in the video about how to create these open plan areas. But yeah, that is one of the limitations of a build like this. Those ramps can be a bit of a nightmare. There we go. I've brought the ship to a planet where we can actually see it. There was a better idea. Here we are. Right. So, oh, watch out for that tree. So we'll park here. We'll just hover. We won't actually land because the great thing about having a ramp at the top of the ship, which makes no sense whatsoever, until you use it to beam down onto the ground. And there we go. We can see the ship now in all of its glory, parked on a beautiful planet, surrounded by deadly plants. Lovely. And a tree. Let me put that tree there. But it looks pretty cool. I think it looks good. But I'd love to know what your opinion is. What do you think? I'm definitely enjoying the Corvette building here in No Man's Sky. It's a real... Of course it's a bloody storm. Literally, I've just arrived. Yeah, so that makes sense. I'm really enjoying the Corvette building in No Man's Sky and getting the hang of all the glitches and the silliness that it does. But you can come up with some really cool stuff. I'm seeing so many cool builds in the community. Somebody built a freaking Star Destroyer. It's amazing. Let me know how you're enjoying Corvette building or whether you'd like to give it a go. In any case, that's it. That's my ship tour. And it's put me in the front of the ship. That is a little bit of a pain in the bum. I'm not gonna lie. That is a little bit of a pain in the bum, but it's fine because you've got so many of these little boarding ramps. The beam up is random, or maybe it's just the closest as the crow flies. Maybe that's all it is. But no, quick walk, and we're back on the bridge, and that's it. The Animus and Madness. Like I say, if you want to see how she was built, check out the live stream. I'll link it at the end of the video. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed this quick ship tour. And I look forward to reading your comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.